Imagine waking up every morning to the same disrespect. A big, steaming pile of dog poop planted right in the center of your perfect green lawn. Not on the edge, not hidden behind a tree. Dead center, like a signature. And no matter how many times you ask, the owner just laughs and tells you, "It's nature, bro." Well, if he wanted nature, he was about to get it. In bucket loads. If you've ever been disrespected and dreamed of turning the tables in the most poetic, satisfying way possible, smash that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned. Because this revenge, it's messy, it stinks, and it's glorious. There are certain things you expect when you buy your first house. The excitement of the peaceful mornings with a cup of coffee on your porch, maybe even chatting with the neighbors about lawn care or weekend barbecues. What I didn't expect was to enter into a passive-aggressive turf war with a man named Rick and his poop-happy golden retriever Dot. It started about 2 years ago. I had just moved into my new home, a quiet, leafy neighborhood that seemed chill and promising. I was stoked. Fresh paint on the walls, a newly mowed front yard, and the perfect little back lawn where I envisioned reading on a hammock or hosting. Weekend cookouts Dot, but that peaceful dream? It got squashed pretty quickly. Rick, my back neighbor, introduced himself by doing something I now understand is his version of saying hello, parking his bare-chested body in his driveway, drinking Coors Light at 10 a.m., while blasting classic rock. This man owned 2 grills and 0 shirts. But the real problem wasn't Rick. It was his dog, Duke, a huge golden retriever that looked like he belonged in a wholesome family, commercial-friendly, loyal, a beautiful coat of fur. Too bad he had a very specific daily ritual, dropping the nastiest, most colossal poop piles right in the middle of my back lawn. Not on the edge, not off to the side. Dead. Center Dot, it was like some ancient dog ceremony. Every morning, Duke would trot over, turn around slowly, lock eyes with the wind, and let it all out like he was marking his territory in the most disrespectful way possible. Dot at first. I told myself, no big deal. Maybe Rick didn't realize it. So, like a reasonable adult, I walked over and kindly said, "Hey, would you mind keeping Duke on a leash, or at least cleaning up after him?" Rick's response? He looked at me, wearing a tank top that said, "Weekend Warrior," raised his beard and said, "It's all nature, bro. You don't own the earth." I stood there, speechless. Dot buddy, I don't need to own the earth. I just want my yard to not smell like canine sewage. I tried being civil. I patched the back fence where Duke was slipping through. I installed a motion-activated sprinkler that would go off whenever it sensed movement. I even tried citrus spray, which dogs hate. Rick saw the sprinkler one day while letting Duke through the gap in the fence and laughed. "Nice try, man, but Duke's built different." "Okay, Rick, I'm built different too, Dot, and this was my breaking point, Dot. It wasn't just about the poop anymore. It was about the disrespect, the lack of boundaries, the total disregard for common courtesy. I went from trying to preserve neighborly peace to plotting full-on psychological warfare. And my weapon of choice, Rick's own ammunition. Duke's poop. Dot started collecting it. Every time Duke graced my lawn, I scooped it up with gloves and dropped it into a giant Home Depot bucket I had lined with a thick trash bag. I added a bit of water, stirred it occasionally, for consistency. Over the course of 2 weeks, I created what I can only describe as a cursed soup, a broth of vengeance. The stench was unreal, the kind of smell that lives inside your soul for a while. And then, one glorious Saturday morning, when I knew Rick was out, I struck. I took that sloshing, bubbling brew and tiptoed to his backyard. Surgical precision. I poured the concoction along the border of his deck. I traced his entire fire pit with it. I even gave a light sprinkle to the grass, where he set up lawn chairs. Dot, It wasn't overkill. It was art. Later that day, Rick came out and froze. He sniffed the air. He squinted, then said aloud, "What the hell is that smell?" I was sitting on my porch drinking coffee and said loud enough for him to hear, "Smells like nature, bro." But that was just the start. I wanted psychological warfare. So I joined the neighborhood Facebook group. Every time Duke dropped off a fresh delivery, I posted a lost and found notice. Found. Steaming hot dog present near my mailbox. If this belongs to you, please come retrieve your property before it fossilizes. People laughed. A few private messaged me to say they'd had similar issues. But I wasn't done. I went arts and crafts mode, using popsicle sticks and toothpicks. I started creating tiny, "Do not poop here" signs. I decorated them with glitter, stickers, and googly eyes. And then I started writing passive-aggressive haikus. Dear Duke the Pooper, this is not your golden throne. My grass feels betrayed. They were everywhere. Mini billboards of shame. Each one a tiny middle finger with sparkle glue. Rick lost it. One afternoon, he came stomping across my lawn, face redder than the Coors Light can in his hand. "Are you trying to make me look bad?" I sipped my coffee and smiled. "Buddy, I don't need to try. The posts, the signs, the smell, it all worked." Rick became the talk of the neighborhood. Turns out, I wasn't the only one suffering. A few other neighbors started commenting in the Facebook group, sharing their own Duke poop horror stories. The pressure built. Rick was called out publicly. He tried to laugh it off, but the judgment was heavy. Eventually, he caved. He built a fenced-in dog run in his backyard. He started walking, Duke on a leash. He even started picking up the poop like a responsible adult. BEGRUDGINGLY. It wasn't about poop. Not really. It was about respect. About boundaries. About standing up for yourself when someone else refuses to acknowledge that your space, your peace, your dignity, they matter. Sometimes revenge doesn't have to be cruel. Sometimes it can be artistic, a little poetic, maybe even sparkly. And me? I still make haiku signs for fun. Because karma? She doesn't wear a tank top. If this story gave you chills or made you laugh, hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's the pettiest, most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? And don't forget to subscribe for more wild tales of karma, justice, and creative payback. Until next time, may your lawn stay clean and your neighbors stay respectful.